Okay everyone, it's David Steele here, and if you like Mack trucks, I've got a treat for you today. Just go ahead and get my Mack R up this hill. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Mack Engine Pack. This is a mod that will be going live in the Steam Workshop, if not already, very soon. And it contains no less than 15 Mack E6 and E7 engines, and a further up to 8 MP7 and MP8 engines. So we're combining the old with the new. Today I'm going to be showing off my Mack R equipped with an E6-300, which I use mostly for logging and other forestry type trips. Okay, let's roll that intro. I'm going to go check in with the foreman and collect a job and see what we've got going today.
Drive safe.
This isn't what I had planned. Alright, let's go pick it up.
Go straight.
Okay, I'm going to back the truck onto the cargo and talk a little bit about today's trip. What we have here is £34,000 worth of logging equipment that needs to be the other side of the country. And this is not a truck that's specified for that kind of trip. But I've got nothing else in the area that I can use, so I've agreed to just go ahead and do it. It's going to be a long and uncomfortable trip, but what better way to show off the E6, right? Yeah, actually there are dozens of ways. I could have not taken a trip here. I could have gone somewhere else. I could have found a different trip that's from this destination that's not 1,500 miles. And they would have made an easier video to edit afterwards, but would they have been so good? We'll never know the answer to that question because I decided to do the impossible trip in this truck. Well, let's see what happens, shall we? But if you haven't got one already, grab a snack and a drink and an energy drink and a coffee and some stimulants, because this is a long drive and a longer video. Okay, cargo connected. Let's make like a tree and get out of here. And if you hate that expression, I am sorry. It's meant to be amusing. It's taken from Back to the Future. So this particular Mack R, this is a truck I use for logging and forestry work. But I think to put that into context, a little bit of history about Mack's R model. So this, the R series was introduced in the mid to late 1950s. And was in production until the late 1980s. It's known to be rugged and tough and durable. It's been used for lots of different applications, and we're talking forestry, logging, long-haul trucking, construction, and similar kinds of things. Just going to take it steady down this hill with some engine brake. That might cause a skid, but should be okay. So back to the Mack R. It was offered in a variety of different configurations, so your cab-over trucks, your tractor-trailers, and your conventional trucks. This is a day cab conventional. I'm using Harvan's Mack R, and I'll put a link to that in the description down below. This truck comes with a Detroit Diesel Series 92, that's the two-stroke high-revving little screamer, some Mack engines, and you can also get a Z-Mod sound and engine pack too. There's nothing wrong with any of these engines or sound packs, nothing whatsoever. But my preference is to tune the engines, I guess, my way. And I know, my way rather than anyone else's, my bad. But Mack engines are so interesting. I'll talk more about these on the drive. What we're using today is an Econodyne 300. That's an E6, so it's an 11 litre. Rated power is 300 horsepower, and peak torque is 1112 foot-pounds. And for transmission, I am using an Allison HT 740D automatic. That is quite the mouthful. That is a 4-speed conventional automatic. It's got a torque converter, it's direct drive, it's 4-speed. And it might seem like an unusual choice for a logging truck, but torque converter allows you to multiply the effective torque from the engine at the road, and that's great for hauling heavy stuff up and down steep gradients. Top speed is limited, but how fast you need to go up or down a mountain? I think it'll do about 65, I think. And it's equipped with the full logging gear, including mud and snow tires. So that's a big help trying to go up and down a wet, slippery, muddy mountain, carrying a bunch of logs behind you. And just as important going down as it is going up. Plus, I gotta say, it was a lot of fun specking out and designing this truck to make it look, to make it look like a logging truck. There are 6 extra lights in the front, and they are more than cosmetic. They do make a difference at night. So maybe halfway down the mountain at this point, I've talked at great length about the engine and the transmission and the truck, and I'm still not on the road. I feel like, whoa, low branch, I feel like I haven't really started the trip yet. Well, let's sit back and enjoy these switchbacks. This isn't really how you should take this kind of road, but Mack trucks are tough, right? So the transmission selects top gear at the sort of low to mid 30s typically, and that's, you're in top gear by 35. Yeah, it's pretty short in the gearing department. But it's also very tractable. By that, what I mean is you've not got that much engine output. You've not got that much engine braking, to be fair, either. But certainly when you need to accelerate or drive this thing up a hill, it does very well. I wouldn't be able to hustle Red Thunder down a mountain pass like this with, say, an ISX-12 or an X-12. And that's doesn't matter the cab size, even the day cab would be a bit of a challenge. I like challenges. Red Thunder would be a much better truck for this whole trip. But this section, yeah, the Mack's really got it made. And I know I'm not looking out the cabin that much because I've got to concentrate on where I'm going, but this is a beautiful part of the map. I have tried this in the snow and in the rain. Rain less so, you can't see so well, but the snow, it's beautiful. With my physics mod, it's also very treacherous. Hey, I like a challenge, don't get me wrong, I've just said that, but not that much. So this right hand corner, you need to keep it quite far to the left. It's quite a long trailer and they are quite substantial concrete blocks if you hit them. So I've done this so many times, I don't particularly pay as much care and attention as I probably should. Thankfully today I didn't hit something and utterly embarrass myself, or get stuck. The two are not always the same, but often are. So a wonderful switchback coming up. You've got to start this one over to the left, take it as wide as you can, and then bring it to the right, and try and avoid running over the middle with your trailer. This view will make it tougher, but a lot more dramatic to watch, so wish me luck. Yeah, I chickened out. I need to see where to start to move to the right here. It's very easy to get stuck. I've done it before on the way up and on the way down, and I've even done it in a convoy. It's not recommended. Hear that turbo whistle as I work the engine hard. Gotta love these older school engine sounds. Okay, it's been a minute, but I'm finally at the road. And we're going to turn right here. So, This looks worryingly clear. Okay. Alright. Well, I'm just to go for it then. Usually there's some traffic coming along and you have to wait for a while, but okay. Alright, so we're finally on tarmac. We can start this epic voyage. Let's get this bad boy up to speed then, shall we? Here's where the noise is going to start to increase, because from memory it's about 1750, 1800 revs at 55. Let's get this window shut, that makes a difference. Might be needing earplugs for this trip then. So I try to keep this game as immersive as I can, and this is probably a good opportunity to talk a bit about this particular trip and why it happened. So, put things into context. I said at the start of the video, how I would imagine using this truck is just for the short stuff up and down the mountain hauling logs. So, if I'm given a job to do, let's say it's hauling some equipment from one end of the country to the other, but it's halfway up a mountain in a forestry section. I'd use the Mack R, grab the equipment, pull it down to a local depot or warehouse or my garage or somewhere, and then one of my over-the-road trucks would come and collect the cargo and run it to the other end of the country. Oh, I almost ran that red light there. Seeing as I'm at the light, let's bring up the map. Okay, 1,413 miles to go and 25.5 hours. That's a long drive. Do I want to go via California? I mean, it would annoy everyone that thinks a pre-2010 truck shouldn't drive through California. No, I don't want to annoy. It's because I could in the game. But I would add a lot of distance to that trip. Maybe a couple, 200-300 miles. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'd add 200 miles and 7 hours. And I don't think that's really going to be worth it. I might get better mileage because less twisties and hills, but no, let's just stick with the route that I've got. So I was midway through talking about using different trucks. So yeah, I would imagine bringing the cargo down from the mountain using this Mack and swapping truck or giving it to another driver. So why would I do that? Well, this truck is fantastic at going up and down those mountains. But as you probably heard, it's a little short-geared, a little noisy at just 55. And that noise will equate to it's kind of thirsty. So something like a Mack Anthem with a more powerful engine and taller gearing, I could see 8-9 miles to the gallon from that trip. And that's with a sleeper.
Turn left.
This Mack R, I don't think I'm going to hit 6. I may do, just depends on the timing of it. If it's going to be a noisy trip, I'm going to burn a third more fuel, give or take, which adds to the cost. But then I have another complication. I recognize that driver. The Mack R that's been spec'd for forestry work is going to be 1,500 miles away, so I've got to travel it back to where I want it to be working, up in Bellingham. And that leads you on to something else. Would it have been better to have foregone this job and not taken it? Because my operating costs are going to be mileage and time. So this is a 2 to 3 day trip each way, so call it a week. Let's say I get 6 miles per gallon, that's 3,000 miles at 6 miles per gallon as opposed to 8 to 9, which I could see from a more efficient truck. Will my operating costs be covered by the money I'm going to get from this cargo? Well, they should be. I've made the game tougher in that regard, but they ought to be. Margin's a little close. In the real world, things can be a little different. So in this case, the Mack R is based at Bellingham. The Houston driving off the road scenes, I think, here. If I needed to move this truck to another forestry area, another state, another part of the map, it might be worth taking a job that you get off the site, David. It might be worth taking a job that doesn't necessarily cover costs in just that in isolation, but that allows me to relocate my truck. It's not a mechanic that the game simulates, but it happens in real life. So if I happened to be in a different truck, in a Mack Anthem or Red Thunder or something different, and I really wanted it to be back in Texas, I might look for a trip like this that gets it back to Texas, even though the running costs might be as much as the job revenue. I don't think I've explained that as well as I want to, but basically what I'm trying to say is this trip doesn't really make sense, at least on the flat, because I'm taking this truck 1,500 miles out of its base of location. It's not optimized for this kind of trip. It's uncomfortable, it's noisy, it's not efficient. All for a good video. Well, it's just a simulation. But much respect to the owner operators, to the haulage companies that have to manage this on a day-by-day basis. I read that spot freight rates in January are basically on the decline. There's much less demand for freight, so more trucks, fewer cargoes, more delays, and lower rates. There are going to be some difficult choices that some operators are going to have to make. Do you take a trip that doesn't earn you what it's going to cost you to get you to a location for hopefully a better cargo the next day, or the next few days, or the next week?
Keep left.
So we're just passing south through Everett. I need a swig of tea or water. My mouth's getting dry. There we go. Something else about how I want to drive this game is to keep it immersive. I don't really want to bring up my computer overlay screen to see what the time is, unless I have to, and I will from time to time, just to keep track of where I am on the trip. But I don't know what the time is, and I don't think I have many hours till I'm going to have to take a break. So that will determine when I stop. And this truck does not have a big fuel tank. It's not very efficient. I do not want to run out. I think it's 140 gallons. So that's about 800 miles, give or take. So it's 700 at 5 to the gallon. I think it's 840, 860 if I'm, it's 840 if it's 6 to the gallon. I should be able to cover that in a day's driving in the game, but I did not start with a full tank, and I'm also assuming that that's what I'll return. As standard, the Mack R doesn't have a trip computer. You can add one, but I didn't, just using the navigation that it comes with. So as I recall, we take this exit, we stay in the left-hand lane as we're heading south. We'll find out in a second or two. Now it looks like we do. Okay. This sounds busy at 55. It's 1800 revs, and it still bleeds speed when you come to a gradient. I'm happy for it to lose speed here because I do not want to roll this thing over. Welcome to Seattle, and it's not raining, nor am I sleepless. Not yet, anyway. Love the way the game simulates changes on the automatic. That sounded like a automatic transmission going up a gear. I don't think I want to be in the left-hand lane, but I don't have the power to... Oh, got to stay on the left side of the lane anyway. I don't have the power to easily merge, which I know seems kind of lame, but when you've got cars that seem to just mob you if you're going just below the speed limit, you need that little bit of oomph just to not hold them up as much as you try and keep the flow of traffic going. So this black car in my hood mirror, I think he's just turned into the left lane. Yes, he has. There we go. Now picking up speed, it's going to use the engine brake. You don't want to get busted speeding. Speed management is that much harder when you've not got so much power because it's tougher to get back up to speed. So if we ignore the very loud engine, this is kind of how I imagine driving around this part of the world would be. Empty roads, some traffic going past me, but not that much. A I'm not holding anyone up, I don't think, at least not especially. I'm doing 55, the limit's 60. And just look at the scenery. It's beautiful. Gonna need to stop soon. Also gonna want to get some fuel, because fuel it's a constant resource that this truck's gonna need. Small tank, high fuel consumption. So, but yeah, this is beautiful, guys. If you don't have the game, or you do have the game, go spend some time in the northwest corner, and turn the rain down low if you want to see some of the countryside. This stretch of road, different times of the day, is beautiful, and it's one of the older parts of the map too. First weighbridge of the trip, and this also means I can use the onboard display or computer display to tell me a bit more about my trip. It's mostly so I see how much we weigh, but all the same. So it's just coming up on 3:30 in the afternoon. I've got almost an hour till I have to stop to take a rest break, and that's good to know. So 47 hours 40 minutes remaining in this trip, and it reckons I've got 22.5 hours of driving, which is 2 days. I may not be able to keep pace with that level of progress. We'll see, but should be able to cruise at 55, and as long as I don't get any delays or bad weather or anything like that, it should be okay. Okay, gross weight is 72 and a bit thousand pounds, so we're not quite at 80,000 pounds. I didn't really expect us to be. That's still a very respectable weight for what is just a 300 horsepower engine with a 4-speed automatic. Right, well, I need to get back on the road. I'm going to find somewhere to stop and get fuel, so let's get on with it. It's not ideal because there's no fuel here, but I don't think there's a motel either. So this will be an uncomfortable night in the day cab, but I need to stop because I don't really want to drive after I'm supposed to. So I'll pull over here, I'll shut the truck down, and we'll get some shut-eye. Should be back the next morning. As I said, actually it's going to be like 1 o'clock in the morning, but hopefully the traffic will be quieter at that time of day. That should be good. She does look like the kind of truck a hardcore driver would take on a trip like this from the front. Yeah. I'm glad rain helps me sleep, because sitting in a day cab certainly does not. Well, good morning. It is 1 something in the morning, and we got a job to take. So I got up a few minutes ago, just checked everything was still there, cargo still attached, engine still under the hood, all that kind of stuff. Quick summary of the trip: loads of miles, not many hours, got to get a move on. Nice, interesting pass. We're going to go through Cabbage Hill this morning, hopefully by daybreak. And then we'll take another night stop, and the end of tomorrow's working day, should be arriving at my destination. Time is going to be a little tight, but I think I can do this and not burst my eardrums. So, let's get things configured and gently move off. Things are still cold, so I want to take this truck a little gentle as much as I can. So let's get back on the road. It's dark and it's rainy, but this game still looks and feels fantastic. There is a little glitch with the Mack R model. I think it's when you use the right indicator, the right blinker, it illuminates a lot more of the hood, the bonnet, and the interior than it should. But I don't care. I just enjoy driving this game. there's just not much to see when I'm driving at night compared to driving in the day. The full power of those high beams, they do make a difference, just not so much when it's raining. Okay, future David here. So rather than subject everyone to a long drive through America, I have fast forwarded this section at 8 times, and we'll listen to Tony Justice, The Big Road, whilst we watch this time lapse. Enjoy.
I remember that first day we hit that interstate. That highway got up underneath my skin. I've been rolling ever since. Love to hear those big wheels whine, 'cause my windshield sees a world that my rear view leaves behind. Shifting gears, I love that sound. I top off my tanks and coffee, put the hammer right back down. Yeah, this is who we are and how we roll out on the big road. I've seen this whole country on this big road. My office has one hell of a view. I really like your town, I'd love to stick around, but I'm just a gypsy rambling, passing through. Lord knows that's the truth. I love to hear those big wheels whine, 'cause my windshield sees a world that my rear view leaves behind. Shifting gears, I love that sound. I top off my tanks and coffee, put the hammer right back down. Yeah, this is who we are and how we roll out on the big road. My windshield sees a world that my rear view leaves behind. Shifting gears, I love that sound. I top off my tanks and coffee, put the hammer right back down. Yeah, this is who we are and how we roll out on the big road, out on the big road.
Yep, that would have been a good truck stop. Oh well. Fairly easy to get to. The truck stops are often got better access than the smaller fuel stations or gas stations. But if I'm able to stop from a slow speed, it's more efficient. Right now, happily cruising along at 55. It's going to take me roughly 100 miles to get back up to 55 if I were to stop now. There are swings and roundabouts, left or right, half a dozen or 6, same difference. And I enjoy some of the detailing, such as this cement plant here on the right. I've certainly collected a delivery from here in the past as well. Right now, however, nope, I'm still heading south as quick as I can. Oh, actually, that's not entirely true. I'm doing 55, and having tested it, 63 appears to be my governor. So I can't even hit 65 unless it's down a hill. Not concerned that the transmission can't cope with it. It's rated up to 2400 RPM. So some of the Cummins NTCs might be able to exceed that, but not the Mack. here's that truck stop to the north of Boise. I'm assuming it's pronounced Boise. If you live in Idaho or if you know how it's pronounced, just drop me a comment. So the Boise or Boise or Boise. Either way, another truck stop, and it's kind of tempting to stop because I'm at just over half a tank. Aside the fact that I've got a schedule to keep, so I really want to stop when I take a break. Now, let's just keep the hammer down and keep it pointing south at 55.
Keep left.
Well, that was a long day driving. Time to tank up with some diesel, and then I'm going to take a night stop here. I'm glad the weather held out. Yeah, that's a long trip. Tomorrow was another full day, but all being well, I should get there in time. Okay, that'll do. Well, before I head down for another uncomfortable night of sleep in a day cab, let's take a look at the map. So 728 miles left, and it's saying just over 13 hours. But that's at the kind of pace that the game expects me to be able to do, which is probably 65. So I'm going to struggle. I'm just going to have to push this package along, I think, tomorrow. I might be cruising at the governor. Morning, everyone. It is again 01 something hundred hours. Not much to say. I gotta get on the road. I do not have much time. There we go. Yeah, I really don't have much time at all. I've not got much leeway, I should possibly say. So without further ado, let's hit the road. Let's get a move on. Wait, I've got to turn right to leave here, haven't I? Okay. Yeah, here we are. It's just up here on the left, and then left at the top, and that takes you back towards the highway. Really don't want to be messing around in the truck stop as much as I can help it. Probably going to need to get fuel as well, which is going to add time to the trip. So I'll take an opportunistic view on that. If I come across a fuel station, it's on my way. I'm going to stop and tank up. And I'm probably not going to need much, but it would really start to run out and be late. Oh yeah, and if I'm late, I get fined. So the pressure's on. Please imagine the heater's on playing right now, but for licensing reasons, I probably won't be including that in the video. Treat this engine with a bit more respect when it's cold. So my coolant's still showing us low, but I'm not going to have that much choice when I get on the highway. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, which is going to be very soon. here. Some. See what's around me. See more vehicles at least. It seems pretty quiet, which is good. Yeah. All right. Let's go for it. There's some stuff from the right, but it's some distance away.
Keep right.
And then we'll indicate. Yeah. So see there how we get the weird light effect from signaling right in the dark. Bit of a glitch with the model. Not too concerned about it. All right. On the access road, let's go for it. Let's give it some power. That's not good. Maneuvering around the truck stop has made me late already by just a few minutes, but late is late. Perhaps I can make up the time.
Keep right.
Well, this is a terrible experience. I'm going up a hill, I can't maintain my speed, I'm slowing down, I'm downshifting. I am not going to get there today. On the other hand, it's not raining, and I get to see the, okay, there's not much to see, but if there was stuff to see, I'd get to see it, get to appreciate it better doing such a slow speed. That's not all bad. There we go, crest of the hill. Let's go for it. Quick check on progress then. I'm still 350 miles away from Holbrook. Says just over 6.5 hours. I have less than that. Looks like it's 6 hours 21 until the job closes, and I'm going to need to take a break in just over 6 hours. So cruising along at the governor, 63 miles an hour is not really going to help that, unless some of the route leads me through slower roads and I can speed. Oh well. And that's why I've not been particularly talkative for the last, well, good chunk of time now, because I'm having to concentrate on my driving. Just want to keep this thing rolling. There's still a small chance, but it's just getting smaller by the minute, that I can make it on time. Now would be a good time. Okay, a better time would be at the start of the video, but now is a reasonable time to talk about the new engines in the Mack Engine Pack. There are a total of 16 engines, which is one more than I think originally planned. And that ranges between the E6 and the E7. So the E6, this engine was introduced by Mack in the late 1980s. And it's known for its sort of power and its strength, and it's tough. There are 4 E6 engines in this pack. They range from the 237, a 250, a 300, and a 350 horsepower version. And there are also 3 EM6 models. That's the maxi torque. Those are the high torque rise. Sorry, just wanted to avoid that poop colour Prius. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about the EM6. So 3 engines here. 2 250s. One is the 250R for restricted revs, that goes up to 1750 RPM, it might be 1800, and a 275R, again up to 1800 revs. These are high torque rise engines, so they're surprisingly capable, even though they've got very low power outputs. To be fair though, the same is true of all of the Mack engines. The E6 series are similar dated to some of the later Mack R's. Now the E7 is a later engine that followed in the 1990s. It's a slightly bigger engine, that's 12 litre as opposed to 11 litre. Has a good reputation for being tough, a stronger engine than the E6, which was already strong enough. And that engine, well, I've got lots of those. So on the straightforward E7, they range from the 250 up to the 460 XT. Now that's not an AMD product stack number of X's thing there. That is rated at 490 horsepower and 1760 foot-pounds of torque.
Get ready to turn right.
I'm not entirely sure how I managed to keep talking about engines despite following directions and not getting lost on the road. These are the game. I can't always do that in real life. That little rolling stop was something I picked up in California. Apparently it's California rolling stop. But in all seriousness, it will save a few seconds, I suppose, because I didn't stop. And also, officer, I was stationary. If you want proof, take a photo. So going back to the Mack E7 engine. The bottom sort of 2/3 of the range, that's the 250 through to the 400, are all compatible with the Mack R. Consensus appears to be you don't put anything more than 400 horsepower into the hood of that particular truck. It doesn't have a big enough radiator or space for a radiator to keep it cool. And sadly this isn't something I think we can simulate in the game, because I'd love to have the challenge of the XT, the 460 XT, keeping it cool, and if you work it hard, you're going to start to overheat, so ease off. But that's a mechanic I think the game would benefit from as a whole. Because I know some of the gradients that you'll tackle with this combination, you're going to heat up the transmission because you're changing down. So it'd be nice to have to back off because the thing's starting to overheat. Oh well. That 460 XT has an interesting history. It was only around for a short period of time, and Mack did a recall, or an optional recall, to detune the engine. It didn't hit the emission standards, is what I believe. Just with the E6 and the EM6, E7 has an EM7 as well, and there are 3 engines in that range, a 250, a 275 and a 300. Those have all got lots of torque versus the power. They're very tractable engines. I've also included the more modern Mack engines. So in the early 2000s, Mack introduced the MP7, MP8. They're successors to the E6, E7 and I think the E9 V8 engines as well. They're derived from a Volvo engine. Don't let that fool you. These are still definitely Mack engines. And we've got the stock range plus a lesser powered one at the bottom of the range. That's the 325. So these are available for the Mack R, and at the time of dictating or speaking this, the Mack Superliner. Though I've also included the 325 in with the Mack Anthem truck as well. As a special bonus, the Mack R, the Mack Superliner are also getting the non-retarder versions of the mDRIVE transmissions. And that's because, well, if you're going to take your old Mack and put in a new engine, you might want to put in the mDRIVE transmission. That's a great gearbox. And Zach, if you've watched this video and you've reached it to the probably 7-hour point where we are right now, yes, I'm still working on the compound turbocharged version of the MP8. In fact, I'm going to be including it in this pack in a future update, but it's not ready just yet, unfortunately. But I'm going to say soon. Yeah, harass me about it. Right, been winding up the truck, so let's get it back up to 63. Why 63? Because it won't go any faster. We've already talked about that many an occasion. And thankfully traffic's moving fairly quickly, so I'm not being held up by anything. I don't appear to be holding anything up, at least not too much. At this point in the trip, I've pretty much resigned to the fact that I'm going to be late. It's just how late am I going to be? Yeah. And it's a bit unfortunate. Not always my fault. This thing won't go quick enough to be able to keep up or make up the time, and that's a luxury that I will get if I am driving around in something like an ISX 15 powered W900 or doesn't so much matter what. Most vehicles in this game have got more power than the 300. But it's been a good experience. I've actually enjoyed driving around as quick as this thing will go. And knowing that if I had to take this cargo halfway up a mountain on the other side in the rain, I've got a better chance of getting there than most other trucks. So it's not been a wasted trip. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Managing the fuel, the time has been challenging. Having 4 speeds, challenging. But yeah, it's been good. I might do this again, although I might not record the whole thing. And I haven't always kept talking because sometimes, I mean, I'm 2 hours driving now. What's there to talk about for 2 hours? I'm not that interesting a person. Okay, quick progress update. 109 miles to go. It reckons 2 hours 7 minutes. I've got 52 minutes left in this job and I need to take a break in 34 minutes. So I'm going to be over an hour late and that's going to become expensive. And I may also get fined because I'm driving after I should have taken a break. If I take a break now, that would be very bad from in terms of my fine. So I want to keep at it. Can't make up the time now, I know that. I've done that for a while. Pretty much most of the day. But let's just keep our head down. Let's just keep going as quickly as we can. Maybe I'll make up a little time. Maybe. Certainly glad for the quiet roads. I mean, this is a quiet desert highway. There's a lyric in there somewhere. So yeah, I certainly appreciate the road's been quiet. And with this thing undulating so much, rising and falling, it's not got the power to keep the speed up on the way up. But it's doing okay. I think that's something I can say about the whole trip. Mack R has done okay. It could have been a complete failure at this kind of drive, but it hasn't been. Haven't enjoyed sleeping in the day cab, to be fair. But I will say this, real world driving, real world concentration, it's been long enough such that physically I need to take a break. Drifting all over the road. So I think I'm just around the corner. But, yeah, I better slow down. Let's drop anchor, weigh anchor. Okay. Yeah, this corner says 30. I've been driving pretty much flat out for a while now, so I'm going to just take it steady in these tight corners. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a right then a left, which I'm about to do the left. And it's down here on the right, I think. We'll find out. Yeah, so having gotten used to the rhythm and flow of the Mack R and this engine and this package, it's working great. Who needs more than 4 gears? Put your hand down at the back there. Shut up, it's my video. Okay. So thoughts about the trip? Yeah, it's been quite an adventure, and if I will edit out a lot of the content. Yeah, close to 3 hours. No one wants to watch a 3-hour video. It might be an hour, but not 3 hours. So, thoughts on this? This off-roady spec, forestry type Mack has been great fun to just punt around. The engines work great. Now I will say this, I have spent many hours tuning all of the E7 and E6 family engines. The MP7 and MP8s, much less time. They're a lot more conventional. They're great fun to mess around with, to kind of tune around with, and they're only available for Macks. And they're not available for other trucks because they aren't in real life. They're good fun. They work really well with all of the Mack trucks that I've tried, and they have a very definite character. Try them with a 5-speed, try them with an 18-speed, try them with the automatic, with the 4-speed here. Yeah, it's all good. My voice is tired. I feel like I haven't had coffee for an eternity. But we've made it. We're late, but we've made it. Okay, let's so what does it say? What have we got here? I'm gonna do let's play it safe. It's quicker. Kind of want to avoid all the time taken to back up, and this particular installation will probably be a major ball ache if I have to do the difficult parking. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a hurry, and I managed to clear that without catching the wheel, which is good. Okay, so you've seen the video, you've watched the truck, you've seen the failures, the successes. If you want your very own Mack E6 and E7 engine pack, it's available, if not now, very soon on the Steam Workshop. All that remains, see how well I did. You know what? It's not straight, it's straight enough. Guess I'll go ahead and disconnect. I get fined for being, I guess, up too late, and that didn't fix it. Okay. And it won't let me reconnect. I guess I'll go forwards and back it back onto the 5th wheel. There we go. Okay, so push T and then push enter. Alright, let's see how well we did. 1,570 miles thanks to a diversion. About 100 miles extra they gave me. Yeah. 309.8 gallons. That is 2 and a bit fuel tanks, which I knew I stopped 3 times. It's also about 5 miles per gallon. So that's the bottom end of what I was hoping for. It reflects, you know what, it's very short geared. 1800 revs in top gear at 55 is not going to get you good mileage. but I didn't buy this truck for mileage or these sorts of trips. Well, that just about wraps up today's video. The last thing I want to say is thanks so much for watching this. I will heavily edit this down. It'll be more than 5 minutes, though it could be an hour. If you enjoy it, you know what to do. Hit like. If you didn't enjoy it, just let me know why. And have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Let me see if I get this right. Keep the rubber side down. Take it easy, everyone. Take care.